Just here, going to talk about everything that occurs to us. Me and Scott Sackett once again. I'm going to work a little bit, and Scott's going to kick back. And apparently, he's had a rough day. What'd you do today, Scott?
Well, so as everyone probably knows, there's this mild virus going around.
Oh my God! Yeah.
uh, anyway, we Ellis and I both live in Oklahoma County. The governor shut down Oklahoma County. I can't see the chat, by the way, Ellis,
Okay.
because I'm on my iPad, so you might
Right.
watch it for any comments or whatever.
Right.
Uh, the anyway, our Oklahoma governor shut down shut down 19 counties that were that had cases in the counties. One of which was Oklahoma County, and so there was some controversy when I left work yesterday because it was worded. His proclamation was worded that if it had less than 10. It was like if it was a public place where people gathered, like bars and stuff, was being shut down. But then it said non-essential, so I didn't know what was going to happen. And I'm not too worried about. And they were, by the way, they were talking about shutting down for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what was going to happen. And this has affected my business quite a bit. I work for a company that makes awards like trophies,
Right.
medallions, that sort of thing.
So it would
And a lot
always
of
be
events.
it would always be an event.
Yes. So a lot of event. Now we do a lot of corporate stuff too, but a lot of events have been canceled, obviously, and so our business has been hurt. This is our busy time of year, and it's been hurt. We do a lot of stuff for the NCAA, and they've canceled all the NCAA stuff. So it's been kind of we were talking about shutting down just to keep people safe, so there was some thing, and we had gone. I think I told you that, Ellis, last or no early no it was early last week. We went to a 4-day work week, and with a maximum of 38 hours, in an effort to kind of cut cost to offset some of that missing business.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great, by the way, because they were telling. I'm in management. I run a department there, and so I was called to a meeting. Well, let me put it this way: we were concerned that they were going to completely shut down the business for a little while, not go out of business, but shut it down for a little while. And I have some people that don't have enough vacation time, that have only worked there a year or two. So I'm concerned about them, of course, because they couldn't weather. Well, I mean, you're not knowing what you would do. I mean, money coming in. So what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that gets desperate pretty quickly when you don't have money coming in.
Well, yeah, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about my employees. I feel as a good boss, I'm kind of in many ways their advocate, and so I have to try and keep them to make sure that they have positive attitudes. So I have to have a positive attitude, but also, I'm concerned about their well-being. Now, anyway, so when they went to the 4-day work week, I thought this was great because my work works. Our hours typically are we work half a day on Friday. People always ask me, why do you, that don't, other non-employees always say, why do you even work on Friday? And I don't have a good answer for that. I don't mind it because it gets me up and about, but a 4-day week or a 4-day work week is even better. So last week I worked a 4-day work week. What I immediately discovered was I lost all track of time.
Yeah.
Now, to compound it, on Sunday, my church had gone to video church. So to try and stop the spread of COVID-19. And that really messed me up. We did watch the service. In fact, my wife and I had to go to the church building for some business things. but it really messed me up because it's like I was off almost as many days as I worked. so so and you know me, Ellis. I mean, I'm a routine guy, and I go to work, and that's part of my routine.
Yeah.
And so then yesterday we heard that the governor was going to shut down this non-essential business for 3 weeks. It's like, oh my gosh! Now already, multiple people at my work had been working from their home. I was not. I work in a building. The building I work in is mostly manufacturing stuff. Now I'm an artist there, and I'm over a crew of it's a half and half, half artist and half machinist. And um, so there was some concern about what was going to happen. People were working from home, and so somebody asked me, not one of my coworkers, not an employee, but a friend of mine at work, who's another manager, said, "Well, have you told them that you could work at home?" And I go, "Well, I didn't. We weren't offered it, so I didn't know." And so when I came in today, I emailed the vice president in charge of production. And I said, "Hey, I don't know what the plans are, but we're willing to work at home if the company needs it, and if not, that's fine. We'll take days or whatever. But I want to put that out there just in case whatever management came up with, upper management." And I copied the head of IT. And so apparently we were on the list to be able to work home, but my boss has been self quarantined. Not my immediate boss, but two bosses up.
Yeah.
My building manager basically. And so I had to fill out a work from home request, which is funny because I was told by a manager, you won't be able to fill that out because you're not a manager. Which at my work, manager's like just under vice president. It's pretty high up.
Yeah, and
I'm like,
that company of yours has got assets. I mean, they've got a jet. Right?
oh, yeah, we got a jet plane, man.
Yeah, I mean that's a
Yeah, if you
company
can
with
fly,
some money. If you got a jet,
if you can fly in a jet plane somewhere, or a private jet, I highly recommend it. It's pretty
yeah,
cool. I've flown in it twice, both times through our plant in Princeton, Illinois. So it wasn't exciting, but it was pretty cool. I have a picture of myself walking out on the runway, getting in the jet, which is pretty
yeah,
cool. Um, yeah, the company, the owner of the company, and it's owned by an individual who started it. The owner of the company is very smart. He's a coach. He was a coach when he started the company. That's why he started. Basically, when it started, it was a trophy company,
yeah,
and he's a good salesman. He's always looking for ways to make money. He's a good motivator. His basketball team, when he took over, I forget the team that he taught or that he coached. Or some, I think it was he coached a high school team here, and when he took them over, they were like losing, and he like took them, and they won state championships like 3 years in a row or something like
wow,
that. I mean, he's one of those kind of guys. He's a guy that, and I mean, I have a lot of respect for the guy. Every time I see him, I make sure and go out of my way and talk to him. He hired me like 31 years ago.
wow. 31
I
years
was,
ago. How many
I
people
know.
have had a job for 31 years? Not many.
Well, at my company, there's a pretty fair amount. There's a lot of people that've been for a long time. I am now I'm I kind of tell people it's like the mafia, and I've kind of feel like I've become a made man.
Yeah,
But I mean, there's quite a few that are. The problem is a lot of them that are longer than me now are starting to retire because they started a little bit older than me. I mean, I went there straight out of art school. I don't know if I've ever told you the story, Ellis, but when I was in art school, I was working for a newspaper, and I was working for a newspaper, and I delivered auto parts in the daytime, and then as on alternating nights from working in the newspaper, I was going to art school, and my art school was like kind of like a commercial art school. We were taught how to do like paste up and layout and all that stuff that you would never do now.
all that
All the stuff that
worthless stuff. Yep.
all the desktop publishing stuff that all the stuff that desktop publishing eliminated.
Yeah.
And we did like spot illustrations and stuff too, but it was gearing you up to work for like a company that did catalogs and stuff like that,
Sure.
you know. Um, and I mean, I was all for that. I mean, I never, you know, I never thought I'd be working at a trophy company for sure, but I went into work. I was about ready to graduate, and I went into work one day at the car lot delivering auto part where I delivered auto parts, and the parts manager or somebody said, "Have you talked to the parts manager?" And I said, "Well, no. You know, I left early on Friday."
Yeah.
Typical me, work work, 8.5 hours every day, and then leave 2 hours early on Friday. That's always been how I rolled. But the
Well,
the
yeah, yeah. I mean, it just feels like the weekend has begun. Yeah, sure.
exactly that's exactly how I used to work with our friend DL Nelson, and we would take short lunches. The way our hours were, you got an hour, a 1 hour lunch.
You guys used to work together.
Oh yeah, we delivered auto parts together.
I did not know that.
Oh, I didn't know you didn't know that. Yeah, he got
Yeah.
me a job delivering auto parts. But so so what we would do is we would we would take short lunches. We always went to lunch together. We take short lunches all week, and then like on Fridays, we'd go to. There used to be a Pizza Inn buffet, and we would go to Pizza Inn buffet and take like a 2 hour lunch, because we'd taken short lunches all week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, or something. It wasn't 2 hours, but like an hour and a half or whatever, and they were cool with that.
Well, job ought to
Any,
be like just make believe anyway. If you want to be truly happy.
well, what's funny is, I mean,
That's the
I
way
mean, I,
I feel like all government workers are. They realize that it's all kind of make believe. We're playing with monopoly money. I'm having a good time.
well, that's how I feel about my job. I mean, don't get me wrong. I try and work real hard and make the company money, but I have free reign because of my, I told you, I feel like I'm a made man. A couple of years ago, I won Employee of the Year at my work. It's like the biggest. I work in an awards company. It's the biggest award they give away, and I mean, it's kind of weird. Some of the I feel like I'm not looking at the camera. The camera in this iPad's weird. Some of the not really stuff I get away with, but just no one questions me on a lot of stuff. And well,
But right now, this situation where you're at, do you feel like the company might be actually contemplating shuttering
no, no,
forever?
absolutely,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
absolutely not. The owner, and you worry about that with a company that's privately held. But the owner, I mean, I've talked to the owner a lot. I mean, if he walked in the room, we would talk.
Because with that kind of
He
money at stake, I mean, sometimes a guy eventually says, I got enough money, and so
well, but at this point he's more concerned about his employees.
yeah.
I mean, you got to realize, a lot of the employees there work there since high school. You know, Now we've gotten away from that, but these are the guys that are in upper management.
As long
And
as his bottom line isn't aggressively attacked, I imagine you guys have probably got a job.
yeah, I think
But right
so.
now, the moment his bottom line was attacked in this
Oh,
situation, he
well,
had to say, let's
we
do something different.
okay. Going back to my story about the jobs, I had these two jobs. I go into the car lot, and I am. They asked me, "Have you talked to Mike today?" And I said, "Well, no. Hang on, I'm gonna try something."
Okay.
Okay, that makes the camera is weird on this thing. That's a different angle. Um, they said, "Have you talked to the parts manager?" And I said, "Well, no. I left early on Friday." That's where my leaving early story came in. And so they said, "Oh, well, you need to go talk to him." And I said, "Well, I got to pack up my truck." And they said, "No, no, no. You need to go talk to him first." And me now, I would know something's up, but I
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
19. And I was like, okay, not. I never in a million years thought something was wrong. And I went, and they basically were laying off all the parts drivers. They were going to go. They had like five, and they were going to cut down to one. And he said, you're a great worker. I have nothing against your work. I'll be happy to give you a recommendation. But he said,
Was the
I
nickname of the guy that they decided to keep Speedy?
no, it was. God, he did have a nickname. He was a big. I think his name was Tiny. He was a big guy, big fat
Okay.
guy,
Okay.
and I think his name was Tiny. It wasn't Speedy, but
Mm.
he was older than me. I was like 19 or 20. He was older than me. He was like in his maybe mid or late 20s. And my boss said, "I know you're getting ready to graduate from school, and so you're probably going to leave anyway." So, and Tiny, he was one of these guys that delivered for one place and then floated to another and then another. He was just a parts delivery guy, and he knew all the parts people around town, and so he would float from one to the other. And so I thought, well, okay, that kind of sucks. So I went home and I talked to Michelle and I told her what happened, and she said, "Well, do you think you can get more hours in the newspaper?" Because he was always kind of after us to work more hours.
Uh-huh.
And so I went to the newspaper and I told him what happened, and he said, "Well, I hate to hear that." He said, "I am writing up a letter to all employees." He said, "I'm having to shut down the paper." And so in the space of about an hour, I lost two jobs. So, I was like, "Oh, that
Was
sucks."
there anything at the time that was monumental that was occurring that caused that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, the car lot thing. The car lot thing was that the owner was passing it on to his son,
Mm-hmm.
and his
Oh yeah,
son
yeah, yeah.
decided he did well, and like I didn't realize till later, but some big wigs got fired. Like he put in a new service manager. All the managers and stuff got replaced up there. So it was like the big wig or the owner retired, passed the business to his son. His son brought in new people and redid
Mm-hmm.
how he did things. And one thing he didn't want to do was he didn't want to have it, five parts delivery people out there delivering parts. And so I went to school. I went to school because they had like a job placement thing, which is kind of a joke. Not real. I mean, they
Usually it is.
tried, but it
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, that stuff, you know. And so,
Well,
but
no, I
they
say that, but that is probably the main reason to go to school is for some sort of networking value.
Well, that was the thing is like they had. Well, you know what? I say it was a joke. For me, it was a good idea because it was good because he gave me a list of people that he gave me a. I went on a ton of interviews and contacted a ton of people. So I mean, it's difficult to say. Oh, it was a joke. I'm still trying to adjust. I can't keep my head centered in here. Uh, so so he gave me a bunch of places and I went, and then when I went back like a week later and I told him, "Oh, I can't, I'm not having any luck." And he said, he specifically he didn't ask where I went. He just said, "Did you go to Midwest Trophy?" And I don't remember him telling me. I said, "No, I didn't go there." And he goes, "You got to go there. You got to go there." And so I went. I called him and I said, "Are you guys? I'm an artist. Are you guys hiring?" He goes, "Well, we do have a you do have an art department. You got to come in and talk to Dave." Like, okay, do I need an appointment? No, just come in, go in the showroom, and tell them that you need to talk to Dave about a job. So I brought my portfolio. I went up there. They took me to this guy, and I figured he was the head of HR. Big, tall guy. Went in his office. He had kind of a little office. He glanced at my portfolio. We talked a little bit. At the newspaper, I'd been working on computers. Now you got to remember this was '89.
Yeah.
So I'd been working on computers. I knew I'd do stuff, and they just bought computers there. Oh, we just bought a bunch of computers for our art department. He goes, "I wonder if they're the same kind." I go, "They probably are." And they were, by the way. So,
Yeah.
that worked out. But so anyway, so then he said, "Well, call me in a week or whatever." And I called him, and I talked to him for a long time on the phone. And he said, "Well, let me think about it and talk to some people, and then call me back in like a day or whatever." And I called him back, and he was at a meeting and talked to his secretary, and then and I said, well, I came in for an interview and I was supposed to call him. She goes, well, call me back in about 10 minutes. And so I called back and he wasn't out. And she said, call me back. She kept telling me, call me back in 10 minutes. And so I said, well, I don't want to bother you. And she goes, no, call me back in about 10 minutes. And super nice lady. She still works there, as a matter of fact. And so finally he said, yeah, come in on Monday. And so I came in, I went to his office and he introduced me to some people. And then they said, go. They showed me how to do the time clock and everything. Well, then the next day I come in and he sees me in the hall and he goes, hey, can you go get me a cup of coffee?
Oh man.
And I go, oh yeah. He goes, I got somebody in my office. You go get me a cup of coffee, bring it to my office. I said, sure. So I took it up there and went to him, and I went to the art, and I was clocked in. So, I got paid for it.
Yeah.
And I went to the art department and I told my boss, I said, oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I said, the HR manager stopped me in the hall and asked me if I could get him a cup of coffee. And he goes, who? And I go, the HR manager, Dave. And he goes, Dave Smith? And I go, yeah. And he goes, no, he owns the company. Oh, gosh.
Oh, he owns the company. He literally owns it.
I thought he was the HR guy. And I thought it was odd. Like, why is the HR guy asking me to get him a cup of coffee? And then come to find out he was the owner.
Wow. Okay. So this guy you referred to earlier, that was the big cheese.
That was the big cheese. The guy I was talking to on the phone. I did not realize. I thought he was. But at the time,
that's interesting. They do route you all the way to the top on that hire. That is weird.
It's strange now, but at the time, he hired everybody that worked there.
That's something. It just shows you though that he was selective. He didn't let. He didn't want to hear anything about your pronouns. He just was judging you based on what he saw, and he should be entitled to that as the big cheese.
I agree. And I understand. Some of so people come in with certain prejudice and stuff. I don't feel like that was the case with him. Of course, you hired me, but
that's the deal. I always felt like you were.
Well,
bigot in chief when you were talking about your money, in terms of like.
It gets a little dicey there, but I kind of agree with you, but that can get into a bad situation if that can get into stuff that I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah.
But and I've talked to him. He was a fisherman on the Bass Pro Circuit, and a couple of years ago he was doing a signing at Cabela's here in town. And I told Michelle, I said, I want to go by there because he didn't come around a lot at the time, and I didn't see him a lot. I said, I want to go talk to him. And so we went up there, and we talked to him forever. And I told him that story, and he thought it was funny because he didn't know it, and he didn't remember. But I told him, I appreciate the fact that. He's basically put food on my table for 30 years, and he was like, no,
comic books on your shelf.
Comic books on my shelf. He said, no, I appreciate all the employees, and I talked to him like 2 weeks ago. He was in the building, and he has trouble. He's a real tall guy. He's like 6'8" or 9" or something like that. He's super tall.
And as tall as Doug, yeah.
He's super almost.
Yeah. No. When you see people super tall, it makes an impression on you. Yeah.
Well, I think that has something to do with his success because he's very imposing. At least when he was younger. Now he has a lot of trouble getting. I think being that tall is hard on your joints.
Oh yeah.
So he has a lot of trouble getting around now. But I saw. And so what they'll do is they'll bring him into the building. And they kind of help him make sure he doesn't fall or anything, and they'll kind of take him into the like the showroom, and there's nice, comfortable, and then they'll set him there, and then like he always meets with some of the people, and they'll come and meet him out there. Well, I happened to be walking by, and I saw him, and no one was talking to him, so I went up and talked to him for a little bit, and he's just super appreciative. The company's done very well for him, but I feel like he's earned it. he has put so much of his own money in the company, especially early on. And around the time of the 2008 financial collapse, he did a lot to support the company financially. Now don't get me wrong, he's not indigent or anything like that, and I get it. That's fine. But he could have sold the company a long time ago and just ran off into the sunset with his money, and him and his kids would be set.
That is the time when the whole country was knocked for a loop. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
remember it vividly because I never got a job beyond that big knockdown. Yep.
Oh, really?
Yep. I don't think I ever got it. Well, I got all these crap jobs I got, but
sure.
But I never got another good job.
So anyway, so at my work so Monday I left thinking we would be shut down, and I was not happy, because I wasn't worried. Michelle's working from the house. I knew that we had income coming in. We have money saved up. I have 250 hours of vacation or 30 hours of vacation or something like that. So I could weather any storm pretty much. I mean, it would really have to be bad for us to be in trouble financially. Not that couldn't happen. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, don't jinx yourself.
No, I don't take anything for granted. But I feel like things would have to get pretty bad for us to be really, destitute. And anyway, so. But I am concerned. Like I said, some of my employees, I know some of them are not in the best financial shape. Several of them do not have spouses. Having a spouse makes financial stuff a lot easier. Two incomes, even with bills for two, just housing is halved.
Yeah.
So I mean, two incomes makes a big difference, and it gives you a little bit of stability in your finances that can help you build money over the long term, for sure.
Yeah, it seems like it's always a good idea to partner up out there.
Well, it depends on your partner.
Yeah,
you got to partner. You got to partner well. Luckily, my partner's an engineer, so. Anyway, so I left thinking, oh gosh, this is not going to be good. I was a little concerned about some of my employees, and they came and asked me, what's going to happen, I knew some things I couldn't tell them. Of course, that's the bad thing about being in any kind of management is you can't tell everything you know. And,
right.
You have to learn to be able to keep secrets because some word gets around amazingly quick that you spilled the beans.
Yeah.
So
why'd you spill your beans?
Well, you just gotta.
You've seen Lighthouse, haven't you? Or...
yeah.
Why'd you spill your beans?
I listened to a great podcast where they analyze Lighthouse from an occultist, Lovecraftian viewpoint. It was pretty good. I wish I remember the name of it, but if you look up Lighthouse podcast, you'll probably find it. It does that. It does The Witch too. It's a whole thing about.
It's one of those movies that is so purely character and fun that way that you could easily watch it again just to see what you missed the first time and just go for the same trip all over again and probably just enjoy it just as much. I haven't done that yet. What? Lighthouse.
What drives me crazy, Ellis, is the library shut down like last Sunday, right? Or the Sunday before. Was it Sunday before? Sunday before.
It's been a while, and those guys don't make a lot of money either.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if they will, but they're government workers, aren't they? They probably will be covered on that. They're probably happy as heck.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They'll get the 2-week thing for sure. So I went to the library. They closed on a Sunday. I went to the library on Saturday. I turned in the Lighthouse and all my library, but I had some pretty good library books that I was like, I'm going to turn these in. I'll come to the library later. and then and I checked out 2 books and a DVD. That was all I had from the library. And the next day they shut down, and I'm like, man, if I'd have known, I'd have stacked up books and movies, and
yeah, books would be good right now. Of course, a guy could always
books would be good.
buy a book through Amazon or something.
As you see, there's no shortage of books here.
You got enough books there you haven't read.
I got enough books. Yeah, there's a book. I'm gonna see if I can point to it.
Hey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some coffee.
Okay, hurry. There's a book on my shelf. I think you can see it. I can't get my finger in the right spot. Right above my head, called Europe. It's the it's a history of Europe from the Ice Age to like the Cold War, I think. Also, I'll pan to another book that I'm hoping to read. Let me see if I can see this. This red book here. Let's see. I don't know if it is. I can't. This red book. That is the Jack Kirby Fourth World Omnibus. I'm hoping to read that during this COVID thing. I have my comic book I need to draw. Also, the gray book right over my glasses. Let's see, right there. That's the Doom Patrol Omnibus that I haven't finished yet.
Oh yeah. The Doom Patrol.
I need to, and I've been reading X-Men. I bought an X-Men Omnibus, and it's the Uncanny X-Men Omnibus, and I read that. And I'm reading the Essential X-Men. I'm in volume 4. I was reading that at lunchtime today. But anyway, so on with the story, the prolonged story of what I did today.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when I came to work on Tuesday, we got an email. All employees got an email saying that we would be working reduced hours, and they were kind of, our business is down, but they're also concerned about our health. Well, Big Dave, who's the owner, everybody calls him Big Dave. His name is Dave Smith. By the way, the place I work is a place called MTM Recognition. If you are out there and you do challenge coins or you do lapel pins, we make those. Shoot me an email and I will hook you up with a discount that's connected, my employee discount basically. Now, I know nobody's buying anything or going to conventions, but when this springs back, if you're going to a comic convention and you want to give out or you want to sell lapel pins, we make lapel pins. My department makes them. If you shoot me an email at scottdsackett@gmail.com, I will hook you up with the right people, and we'll get stuff made for you. We have a dedicated factory that works specifically for us. And and all that stuff goes across my desk. So I'm in charge of the department that makes all that stuff.
Cool.
So I will make sure it gets made properly. I've done some stuff with some comic publishers, small publishers, but some comic publishers, and I think they've been happy with the product. And so we do that that's what I do in my department. But anyway, so Tuesday I get an email where we're with a letter from Big Dave. Basically saying that he's concerned about the employees, about their health, and about them keeping their jobs. Not necessarily for the next 2 weeks, but where are we going to be 6 months from now? Will we all have jobs? So while he wants to do the best for the employees in the short term, he also wants to do the best for the employees in the long term. It's all about keeping the business moving forward. So to that end, what they were going to do is we were going to work, and we still are working reduced hours, which is 38 hours, 4 days a week, which I consider like awesome. Right. I hope they keep these hours. I love these hours. I worked them last week and it was great. Now, of course, today the governor shut down all businesses, all non-essential businesses. So when I came in today, I'd said when I left, I thought I would be not working for 3 weeks. In fact, I sent Ellis an email and was going, man, I may be sitting at home with nothing to do. Now I have stuff to do.
Barry sent you back an extensive wish list of things he obviously wishes he was in the same situation. Where he ticked off all the stuff a guy ought to do He's forced to be at home that long.
I think I missed that. What did he say? I mean, was it just stuff he'd read, or what was it?
Yeah, stuff he would do, and discipline he would show toward his diet, and all sorts of things. Yeah, you need to
Oh, I
check your
completely
email.
missed that. I need to read that. Well, I'll tell you something, Ellis. Yesterday I come home and Michelle says, "Hey, let's go run."
Yeah.
And I've been trying to get, and so Michelle and I went and ran, and so we're gonna start running together. Yeah, because Michelle is gonna go stir crazy staying in the house because she's been working at home all week. She's gonna go stir crazy, so she is wanting to get out of the house, and so that's a way. And she enjoyed it.
Do you drive to some place to run, or do you just start outside your front door?
Start outside the front door.
Well, that's the advantage of where you live. I tried to get by and do that in my area, and I finally decided I'm an idiot. I'm going to get thrashed by the fact of needing to get beyond my local area a quarter of a mile. I just opened myself up to just a few too many things, and I tried to vector toward areas that turned good pretty quick, but even that didn't help. I mean, if you have to go past two houses that have got ne'er-do-wells in it, it's like, okay, you're exposing yourself to them.
Yeah. Are you watching Better Call Saul?
No, I'm not. I am going to rent all those at once because Barry made me aware that I can do it on iTunes, so I'll do that.
Okay. Well, Mike experiences that at one point. I won't tell you what happened. You'll have to see it. But yeah. So so now I'm working from home. So today when I came in, I wrote an email to I don't know if I told you this. I wrote an email to the vice president of production and said, hey, we're willing to work. And so they got it. And I, thinking this out at the house, brought my wife's laptop because I knew anything I do would have to involve Windows 10, and my desktop doesn't have Windows 10. And I thought I would download Adobe, but that's not what they did is they used a remote desktop, and so I'll just log in, and it looks like my computer at work.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool. But they got that set up, and I can do it through my wife's laptop. She has a laptop that is a pretty nice little laptop, and it's got Windows 10. And that way, I was concerned if I had to load, because Adobe allows you to have a seat at work and a seat at home. You can't have them both on at the same time, but you can have them, one and the other.
Right.
I don't want the update because I don't like the subscription model of
everyone hates that. Yeah, sure.
Well, it's rough for a guy like you or me. I mean, I get Adobe loves it.
Yeah, sure. No, all of them love it. They love to be millionaires anew every month. Yeah, you bet.
Well, but I kind of wonder. I think they would be better suited. I don't know. To me, it makes more sense to just do a release every year and just sell it.
Well, no, I mean, I think this is like money, and I think the idea that touched it off was the massive multiplayer video games. It's like subscription model.
Well, and Steam and some of that other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Steam sells it, doesn't it? But yeah, the subscription model. I feel like I'm getting farther away from the camera. I'm holding this at perfectly right angle to my face. Hang on. Anyway, so that's not so bad. Okay, so my fear was that if I loaded the cloud Adobe, I wouldn't be able to unload it and load my CS2 that I use for my comic.
And you probably wouldn't have been. Yeah.
Well, I think I would have had to update to 10, and I'm not updating to 10 because I don't want to lose. It works. I'm just going to use it, and if something happens, that tool goes away, I'll do something else. But until then, I'm not tinkering with it. you know.
No, those OS fears are very justified, because I've got an iMac sitting on top of a shelf in there that is totally worthless because of an OS update. Makes me angry every time I see it.
What did the update?
Oh, it just knocked everything out. It just it's something I've got to solve someday on my own, or just take it to a shop and do it. I don't know.
Yeah, have you talked to Barry about? That might be a Barry's. Barry's an Apple guy.
Well, maybe.
You ought to talk to Barry about it. I mean, I know you're not using it for anything, but dude, if you could make a media server out of it, that'd be kind of cool.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'd love to have some use out of it. You bet.
Yeah, you ought to ask Barry about it. He's very Apple savvy.
Okay.
If we survive this virus, you talk to him about it. But anyway, so
yeah, you always use your friends. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, Barry don't mind.
Yeah.
If the situation reversed, you'd help him.
Sure.
If you had any usable skills, you'd help him.
If I had a skill, anybody talk about your skills people can use. Doug has invited me on about 5 of these puppet shows that I haven't gone on. I've gone on 2 or 3 of them. And it's like, you talk about somebody, but what's kind of annoying? You get on these shows all loaded for bear, so to speak, and ready to do something, and Doug is basically someone has to be the narrator or the moderator when you've got 6 people on.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you just sit there with your dumb puppet doing nothing while Doug goes from point to point, talking to this or that. But have you seen any of these things where he tries to conduct puppet shows?
I get the notices for him, but I've never seen them. Sorry, I just realized I could be watching this on Facebook on YouTube with my phone and seeing if there were any comments. Oops.
That always happens.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah. So I volunteered. I basically said, hey, we want to work at home, and and it was kind of interesting because somebody else did that, and they told them, oh, you're not a supervisor, you can't do that, but they let me do it, which I thought was kind of interesting because I was told I'm not high enough level, but it still happened. But anyway, be that as it may, so I get my thing, my thing put up. Someone texted me. I get my thing set up, and it's like I can work from home. They come out and say, okay, we're closed for 3 weeks, and if you can't work, you'll get paid for 2. And I was like, oh. So I could have had 3 week vacation, but I screwed myself out of it. But I mean, that's okay. I'm more worried. I honestly was worried about what my email at work would look like, because all the salespeople were working from home, and I was away from my desk for about 3 hours this afternoon, and I got back to like 27 emails from people asking me if I was working from home. So I think the work will be there. I just wish I didn't have to be the one doing it. Well, I missed out on 2 weeks of free pay is what I did, basically. But I mean, that's okay.
Always rough. That's very rough.
Well, I had a meeting because this has been going on. There's been a thing at work. There was kind of some rumblings, and so my department that I'm over is in 2 different rooms. There's downstairs where the artists are and I'm at, and then upstairs where the machinists are. Uh-oh.
You went black. Now you can't go back. Uh-oh. As he said, uh-oh. Well, when Scott gets back, I think we've been at it 44 minutes. Here he comes. He's back. You're back.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. That was weird. It just kicked me out for some reason.
Well, these now you aren't connected by a wire, right? You're connected by your...
No. I'm all iPad tonight.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, the machinist all came downstairs and was and just so happened they weren't really gathering at my desk, but it just happened. And I told him, I said, look, here's the deal, guys. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I said, I'll tell you something. I shut the door, which they all know. If I shut the door, it's maybe something I don't want somebody walking by to hear or whatever. I said, look, I'll be honest with you. However this works out will not be fair. Somehow some employees will get screwed. However this ends up. And I said, but you have to trust that management doesn't really know what's going to happen. They don't know. They're trying to make the moves to keep the company afloat. I said their main concern is that in a month, 6 months, a year, that the company is afloat and that we all have jobs, and you just have to trust that. And I can tell you from personal experience, different things that they've done, and I've gotten screwed. This will not be fair. You may be on the fair side. You may be on the unfair side.
Right.
Nobody knows how it's going to work out. And I gave some examples of I told them a couple situations where I've been in and I've done the right thing, and
you played by the rules and got screwed anyway.
And got screwed. And then there've been times where I played by the rules and it worked to my advantage, and I got extra leave. One time I got like an extra year's worth of leave, out of the...
Yeah.
And so that just happens.
Okay.
And so I tell them all this, and then today my machinist can't work from home. Well, one of them has 400 hours of vacation.
Jeez.
So she's okay with it, because she's getting 2 weeks free.
Unless she had some sort of major, bucket list thing she was going to go do with all that time.
She goes to Hawaii every third year. So she's a single lady. She's older. She told me I'm saving my vacation for a rainy day, and I'm like, this is a rainy day, But she's only losing 34 hours. And so, and then the other guy, that's the female, and then the guy, my male machinist or whatever, he is building he bought some property he wants to build on in a couple of years. So he has a tractor and he's been clearing that, and he's like, hey, tomorrow morning I'm going to get up and go fishing out on my land. I'm going to run my tractor. He goes, I may take a couple extra days off. No.
Get everybody used to this. They'll say,
oh, I know. They won't want to come back.
Yeah.
Now, of my artist, one of the artists that is working does not have any time. He has no time. He was telling me he's got 8 hours, and he's able to work remotely. So I feel like, even though I'm getting screwed, I think for him it's a good deal because he's able to keep working. Now,
is he one of your 3D artists? No.
No, the 3D artists aren't under me, but I had to help them today. That whole situation's a weird thing, but and then another guy, my other artist that works under me, he has a job at an office supply place that is going to stay open supposedly because a lot of people are working from home, so they're considered essential. And he has time. Now he could work from home, except for his computer doesn't have the right operating system, and he was very agitated about it. He's like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get it updated. I went through all the stuff about how to do it, and so I told him, I said, if you get it fixed, if you update it, a friend of his does computers. He's going to update it. I said, if you get it updated, see if you can get on. I said, honestly though, Joseph, if I were you, I wouldn't spend a lot of money on it because you're only going to miss a week's worth of pay.
Yeah.
And he has a week of vacation, but he's like, I've got to work, and I get it.
Yeah.
He's a guy. Well, he's a guy that's been laid off a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he's not working, he's very insecure, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
and so,
I
get it. No. I get it. And so, in fact, he's the guy that he always wants a task. And so, if I leave, like if I go on vacation, I always give him like a job, not necessarily a single job, but for example, like, while I'm gone, I want you to check on this every day or something like that, because he doesn't like not being busy, and so I kind of give him duties, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of hoping that I don't know how busy we're going to be, because our business is kind of, but I had a bunch of people email me, so I'm hoping we're busy, because I feel like if we're busy, if we get a lot of stuff through the department, it will make the department look good, which always makes me look good, and it'll be a way to justify. You know, I had a talk with the guys today, and my boss was asking me, how busy are you? And I go, well, we're getting some stuff in. We're actually a little busy. And I said, I had a talk with everybody. I laid down some ground rules. I told them I want them to clock in and then call me, and we would talk. So anyway, so everybody seems to be happy with it except for me, because I got screwed out of 3 weeks of vacation. I couldn't hit Barry's bucket list. I'm mad that I missed that. I want to see what he wrote. Oh, because I was all set. I was going to read Moby Dick.
You think you deleted it?
No. I just missed the email. He works in Gmail, and Gmail nests everything. I have trouble finding stuff.
Yeah. I send stuff out in Gmail too. What was your account? Not Gmail? I thought it was.
Well, I have two. I have like 4 emails. Okay, let's see. You know what? I'm going to read this out loud.
Okay, good.
Because I think this, if any, and we have people may be watching this that are stuck at home, so this would be good. While I'm hoping for work from home or for this all to vanish like a bad dream, 3 weeks at home sound appealing, and yes, a pretty rigid structure would be to your advantage. Small goals, but quite a few of them, and it would be essentially getting 2 hours back a day by not having to drive to and from work. That's true. That is absolutely true. You get up 30 minutes later and run an hour and still be done before you'd have gotten to work.
Mm-hmm.
I would plan an hour a day of exercise, 2 movies a day, and at least 5 hours a day reading. Oh, heaven. And I would go full tilt intermittent fasting. That's a good idea. Breakfast at 10 a.m. after fasted cardio, lunch at 1 p.m., dinner at 5 p.m., only water in between, pre-prep all meals, no grazing, and no less than 8 hours sleep, and maybe an hour nap every day, vitamins. Hell yeah. That's quoting Barry if anybody listens to me. This is not me swearing. Hell yeah. Anyway, that's from our friend Barry. That's his schedule. And I think that's, a lot of people, like he said, even if you're working from home, I'm going to gain, man, at 5 o'clock, I'll knock off every day, or probably between 5 and 5:30, depends on what's going on. But I will gain, I don't normally get home. I didn't get home today until, in fact, tomorrow I'm going to knock off early because I worked late today, and I took a short lunch because they had an order. My company has to shut down by midnight tonight. There was a 500-piece order 5,000-piece order they were trying to get out. And so I was upstairs working. I was putting metals together today, trying to get that out or get as much as I could out. And I was helping them. I was running a jump ring machine, Ellis, a jump ring machine you probably never even heard of. It's a machine that works similar in principle to a stapler, but it has a metal ring, and you put a medallion onto a neck ribbon with it, and it basically puts the ring that connects the two. It's an automatic machine.
And I was like running pop riveting all these things together, huh?
Yes, absolutely. But it's a ring, and I was running like a machine gun, and I told those guys because they were laughing because because there was like 4 of them that were wrapping them and putting in plastic envelopes. They couldn't keep up with me running on the jumping machine, and I said, "Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna tell my grandkids that during the war, kids, your dad ran a jumping machine and killed 1,000 Nazis with it." During the Great Pandemic War.
That pandemic, it's amazing. I mean, all the little battles, everyone, I think, is tired of it except for Nancy Pelosi. I think she's kind of enjoying herself. But everybody else is pretty tired of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, let's face it, that's why it's gone on so long, because people do not do good when you tell them you got to stay in your house. They don't do good when you tell them anything. But
my understanding here's I'll just pass out some dangerously ignorant information, but I think I've got it right. Tell me if you don't think it's right.
Okay, I will tell you if I disagree.
This is not the flu. It is a coronavirus.
I think that's true.
It's a coronavirus, which makes it a cold, a very nasty cold. And that means, that's why all these people that are saying you can have it and have it again, it is like those colds that you remember. Most of us have lived a life where we've had a cold and then caught it again. And
yes,
that's what is going on with this coronavirus. It just happens to be your nastier cold in some people's cases. These people that slough it right off, it's all genetics. I mean, it's like this disease finds the right receptors, and it says, "Oh, I was made for you and me," and you just get together, and that's what's funny about hosts. Look at that as a strategy for life, a life form that is trying to kill its host. So weird. But I guess it's also got a reproductive cycle where it goes on by way of the host getting sick and then becoming someone that spreads the virus. If you want to talk about your alien life forms, think about, viruses attacking something, killing you, and spreading on beyond that, and being happy with that as a reproductive cycle. Not building a thing, just destroying everything you touch. Which, I guess we all consume to an extent, so.
Sure.
Or we're all built to, we all have to devour to live,
Sure.
But anyway, so that's my thought about it, is like, it's so inevitable that this just becomes a virus that never goes away. This is a cold that is just like all your colds. There's probably not a single cold. That would be nice if it was a flu. Flus, like the Spanish flu, they've got guys that have to be slapped every now and then saying, leave that alone, because they've got examples of it and they want to play with it. And it's like, no, leave it alone. We don't need to unleash it again. And I guess they play with it anyway in their little petri dishes and hopefully keep it under control. But with a flu, it will recede and go away. With a cold virus, a coronavirus, this novel, and they call it a novel coronavirus because it's one they haven't seen yet. Hey, have you seen that movie Contagion? Because it hits. No, it's amazing. Rent that or do something there. It's, of course, who wants to watch? I'm just the sicko that wants to watch, even though it's apparently like one of the biggest movies in the country right now on rentals.
Sure.
On rentals. But it's good. It's good. It's Soderbergh, and he's hit and miss with me, but he's really good. And I also like the fact he's a filmmaker that's always looking. He'll go big. He'll make a big movie. But he's also a guy that really appreciates the idea of saying, can I make a movie with an iPhone? And then he goes out and does it. He'll make a movie with an iPhone. So I dig the guy. Have you ever seen his what's that famous Kafka? Yeah, he's got a movie called Kafka with
No,
Jeremy Irons in it.
I
Oh
haven't
my,
seen it. I
oh
don't
my gosh,
know.
what a movie!
I mean, I'm sure I have, but I don't know if I've seen any
No,
Soderbergh
you probably,
movies.
man, you may not have. You may not have. It's hard to find.
I okay, a couple things that you said.
Okay, go ahead.
You said the coronavirus is like a cold. I have no idea. That is certainly nothing I'm read on or studied or I'm not a
Yeah.
I'm not I don't know. That's however, I
Again,
will
I'm
say
only as good as the data I've run across. So it's like, Google search has led me astray, then I'm wrong,
yeah, no, I will say this. Michelle and I were in New York City at the end of January, about the time that it was hitting in China, and I saw a lot of Asian people with masks on. And I
Yeah.
got home and I had a bad cold. Now, I didn't have trouble breathing. I didn't have, and I don't, I'm not saying it was that, but now I've heard a lot of people going, "Oh, I think I had," and I do kind of wonder if I,
You may have had it pass through you, you know.
I may have.
But like I say,
You
it
know,
being a cold, you could get it again.
sure.
That's what's annoying and hopeless about it. I've already said that. Go ahead, continue with your.
Well, well, and I was listening to something on the radio, and they were talking about this thing called herd immunity, which I guess is the idea that you don't quarantine healthy people, you put them in the path, and somehow by their immunities will break it down eventually, and then eventually it just evaporates or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
And
flu's. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if that's a viable thing or whatever. It is weird. Some of the numbers on this that seem pretty alarming when you compare them to regular flu numbers don't really
Mhm.
seem that high. So, but it's weird that we would make a big deal about, and I mean, it wasn't just us. It was, China was, I work with an overseas factory, and they were shut down for like 3 weeks after the
Yeah,
Chinese New
it's
Year.
because of where it takes you. When the numbers, it's just a
Yes.
math thing. When the numbers get big enough, you have a system where your population is your medical help is overwhelmed, and everything stops anyway. And it's like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
You have to try to slow down the damage as it occurs. That's all they're
Well,
doing.
and
That's all they're doing is they're slowing it down so that they don't have to deal with a crisis level of medical aid being needed.
oh yeah, and that's the thing is like, if people would just watch, I mean, wash your hand. If people wash their hands, this would go away. you know,
Yeah.
um, I mean, this never should have come to this level of a disruption to our life and our society. And even a few weeks ago in Oklahoma here, we had very few cases. If people would just stay at home or wash their hands, just do smart practices. And I get it; it's supposed to be, but I mean, even you can get it on your hands, but it still is not in your body. If you wash your hands, you wash it off.
Yeah,
You just
supposedly,
don't.
yeah.
Yeah, you just don't want to touch your eye or whatever, or your mouth or your face. Um, so I mean, I don't know. Hopefully everything in Oklahoma is shut down for 3 weeks, basically, or at least in Oklahoma City. Hopefully this will do it. You know, I was talking to a bunch of people at work today, and I said, God, I hope this,
Well, they
you
say
know,
heat will do it. Right now, it's pretty hot where where I'm sitting, so it's like maybe I'm being protected by the
about
nasty
that.
environment I typically live in.
Maybe so.
Well,
Well,
you
Ellis,
ready? Yeah, we've
yeah,
been at it an hour.
we've been at an hour. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway,
Well, thanks for joining us. Anybody that stumbles across this, we'll do better next time. Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird. We did a coronavirus thing the other day, so
Yeah.
this is the thing. I wanted to make sure that we didn't miss out on our Wednesday talk. We do this every Wednesday at 7.
It's a good discipline. Yeah.
And typically I'm drawn. I got home at like 6:30 I think today, or 6:15. And so I was like, then I was kind of tired, so I was like, I'm just gonna sit and talk to Ellis.
I mowed the lawn today. You talk about somebody that's going to feel it tomorrow.
Oh my gosh!
I've got a big lawn. Okay,
yeah.
well, okay, we'll end it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya. There we go.
See ya.
Okay.
Okay.